So dining services called me and says, hey, let's talk about getting some of your product in here. So I go over and meet with him. He says, well, let's do a pulled pork sandwich. We can put that in one of our venues. Okay, so we send them 150 pounds of pork to play with, and they burn it. Okay, so we send them another 150 pounds to play with. They burn it. Turns out that their HACCP plan, Hazardous Analysis Critical Control Point plan, that they had to meet health department requirements, was based on industry protocols, and our meat cooks 15 to 20% faster than industrial meat because it hasn't been secreting adrenaline all of its life due to stress. Our animals are happy, so they don't secrete adrenaline all the time, and so all of our meats cook faster. So you get into a highly kind of industrialized commissary setting that has all these protocols for cooking industrial stuff, temperature, time, all that stuff to make sure it's done, and suddenly your stuff that's way better, doesn't meet protocol, and so we ended up having to walk away from that. I mean, it would have been a $100,000 a year customer. We had to walk away from it because they were not willing to. Their insurance underwriter would not let them adjust their HACCP plan to conform to a faster cooking pork. I would say to happy pork. I think you can eat happiness, and so the insurance company would not let them change their cooking protocol to meet a more tender, happier product, and so we had to walk away from it. There's a lot of fear in the insurance business. Again, insurance, liability, those kinds of things, and so that's a real problem. And then the final one is slow pay or even no pay. Restaurants come and go. We've been, if there's one group that has left us hanging with accounts receivable and no pay over the years, it's restaurants. I mean, we've even had, we made a delivery to one restaurant. We deliver to them every single week. We went one week, and here's the chef and all the staff sitting out on the porch. What are you guys doing? The owner closed the restaurant, didn't tell the chef, didn't tell the staff, didn't tell us, didn't tell anybody, and we show up with the next week's stuff, and they're all sitting on the porch. Enough said. The restaurants are just, they've got some little glitches in them. Now, what about the positives of restaurants? So the positives are, number one, you learn a lot. This whole thing of how fast our meat cooks, we learned from from the restaurants. Well, why? Well, because a homeowner doesn't cook that many meals of identical size, type, and structure, over and over and over again, whereas a restaurant is doing it over and over again. So these nuances happen. I remember well one restaurant we went into, and we were there for a couple of weeks, and the chef told us about the prep room back there where they were cutting up chicken and getting it prepped to serve, and like the first time our chickens went in there, all the people that working in that prep room, half a dozen of them, come running in after like 2 hours of working with our chicken, and they're all gibbering and jabbering and said, look, no sore hands, no sore hands. And chef said, what, well, they're used to only being able to work about 2 hours with industrial chicken because there's so many toxins in that chicken that your moist hands, your skin is permeable, and so over a couple of hours, those toxins would go in and give them arthritis type feelings in their joints of their hands, so they can only work for a couple hours at a time in order to give their hands rest from all the toxins in the chicken. Ours, here they are, they're working with it for 6-7 hours at a time, no sore hands. I mean, those are the things you learn, from a chef, and then you can translate that, to your explanations, to your blog posts, things like that. It's powerful, powerful stuff.